Hello, Gallatin County friends. Today is day 33. Yes, 33, and it is Wednesday and extremely windy and possibly rainy where you are. So I hope that you have a fun day planned inside learning, because don't forget, we still have to be learning on these NTI days. Our last day is not until May 11th, so you should be doing something every day to learn. And listening to this story is the perfect thing to do. I have a book today that you may or may not have heard. It is Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. This little boy is going to wake up on the wrong side of the bed. And that is just a phrase that we use sometimes to say that somebody is extremely grumpy. That doesn't really mean that they wake up on the wrong side of their bed. It just means they're extremely grumpy. And if you've ever heard somebody ask you that, that's what they mean. Did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed? They're asking you if you're grumpy. So today, this little boy is going to wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and he is going to be extremely grumpy. Now, this book is going to hit several habits. It's going to hit habit 1, obviously, your circle of control. There are certain things you can control and certain things you cannot. And this little boy, he's going to have a real hard time controlling his behavior and all of that, which is in his circle of control, and it's going to lead to a really bad day. Habit 3, put first things first. Not putting other things first will cause bad things to happen. So kind of like yesterday's book where you have a chain of reaction to something that you do, something else happens, it's cause and effect. He's going to have that same issue. Think win-win. He's got 2 brothers. I believe it's 2 brothers. He's got brothers, and they obviously do not think win-win. So let's dive right in. Habit 1, habit 3, habit 4, habit 5 is also hidden here because obviously someone needs to sit and have a talk with him and try to understand his feelings and get him to understand his own feelings, actually. And it's probably going to hit habit 7 as well. All 4 realms. Work on your heart, body, mind, and spirit. And when you do that, it makes you feel better about yourself. And when you feel better about yourself, you end up having a better day. So lots of habits in today's book. I hope you enjoy. Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day by Judith Viorst. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, and now there's gum in my hair. And when I got out of bed this morning, I tripped on the skateboard, and by mistake, I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was running, and I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Now let's stop right there. Obviously, here's our chain of reaction and the things that are happening, cause and effect. He went to sleep with gum in his mouth. If he had controlled that and not gone to sleep with gum in his mouth, would he have woken up with gum in his hair? No. So that is in his circle of control, but now that it's there, it's not in his circle of control anymore. When he got out of bed, he tripped on the skateboard. If he had put the skateboard away, he wouldn't have tripped on it. He dropped his sweater in the sink while the water was running. That was probably complete accident. And he says, I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Sounds like to me he needs a paradigm shift. That just means look at things differently. Maybe if he had sat and said, well, it is kind of my fault. If I'd put my skateboard away or if I had slept without the gum in my mouth, these things wouldn't have happened. And it's okay. Now I can get back on track and we can have a good day. Just because something bad happens in the morning doesn't mean you have to keep having a bad day. Let's read to find out what happens. At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car kit in his breakfast cereal box, and Nick found a junior undercover agent code ring in his breakfast cereal box, but in my breakfast cereal box, all I found was breakfast cereal. I think I'll move to Australia. In the carpool, Mrs. Gibson let Becky have the seat by the window. Audrey and Elliot got seats by the window, too. I said I was being scrunched. I said I was being smushed. I said if I don't get a seat by the window, I am going to be carsick. No one even answered. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At school, Mrs. Dickens liked Paul's picture of the sailboat better than my picture of the invisible castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loud. At counting time, she said I left out the number 16. Who needs 16? I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Now, so far, all of the things that are happening to him are because of something he did. So those were in his circle of control. And had he fixed those things and done something differently, all this bad stuff wouldn't be happening. So sometimes we have to think ahead and we have to make the decision to do the right thing, which is habit 1, so that bad things don't keep happening to us. I could tell because Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore. He said that Philip Parker was his best friend and that Albert Moyo was his next best friend and I was only his third best friend. I hope you sit on a tack, I said to Paul. I hope the next time you get a double-decker strawberry ice cream cone that the ice cream part falls off the cone and lands in Australia. There were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunch bag, and Albert got a Hershey bar with almonds, and Paul's mother gave him a piece of jelly roll with the little coconut sprinkles on top. Guess whose mother forgot to put in dessert? It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. That's what it was. Because after school, my mom took us all to the dentist, and Dr. Fields found a cavity just in me. Come back next week and I'll fix it, said Dr. Fields. Next week, I'm going to Australia. Now, do you think everything that's happening to him could be controlled? No. He's not in control of when he has a cavity. I mean, he is if he had not eaten so much candy, but sometimes cavities just happen and it's out of your control and you just have to deal with the consequences or the events that come about after that. But there are some things that he's doing that are in his circle of control that could have made his day a little bit better. On the way downstairs, the elevator door closed on my foot, and while we were waiting for my mom to go get the car, Anthony made me fall where it was muddy, and then when I started crying because of the mud, Nick said I was a crybaby. While I was punching Nick for saying crybaby, my mom came back with the car and scolded me, that means got after me, for being muddy and for fighting. I am having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, I told everybody. No one even answered. Do you think that the reason that no one answered is because they all know what we know, that some of this is brought on by his actions? Like he's deserving some of this because of the decisions that he has made. Then when we went to the shoe store to buy some sneakers, Anthony chose white ones with blue stripes. Nick chose red ones with white stripes. I chose blue ones with red stripes, but the shoe man said we're all sold out. They made me buy plain old white shoes, but they can't make me wear them. When we picked up my dad at his office, he said I couldn't play with his copying machine, but I forgot. He also said to watch out for the books on his desk, and I was careful as could be except for my elbow. He also said don't fool around with his phone, but I think I called Australia. My dad said please don't pick him up anymore. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. All of those things were in his control. Was he listening to his dad? No. He was making poor decisions, and it was making his day worse. There were lima beans for dinner, and I hate lima beans. There was kissing on TV, and I hate kissing. Poor Alexander. Wonder if he's ever going to get it through his head. My bath was too hot. I got soap in my eyes. My marble went down the drain, and I had to wear my railroad train pajamas. I hate my railroad train pajamas. When I went to bed, Nick took back the pillow he said I could keep, and the Mickey Mouse nightlight burned out, and I bit my tongue. The cat wants to sleep with Anthony, not with me. It has been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. My mom says some days are like that. And are they? Yes. Some days we have good days. Some days we have bad days. But when you have a bad day, you can change it by the way that you look at things. And that's what Alexander needed to do. He needed to kind of change the way he was looking at what was happening, and he would have had a bad day. But because he got it in his head, this is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, it seemed like everything was terrible and horrible. He was having trouble seeing the good things that were happening in his day. Mom says some days are like that, even in Australia. You see, he ended up going to sleep. Do you think that when Alexander wakes up, he's going to have another terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day? Or do you think that he would have a better day? I think he's going to have a better day. And part of that is because every time that you go to bed, when you wake up the next morning, you have the opportunity to start fresh. It's almost like if you got put on yellow or orange or red one day, when you come back, you don't start off on yellow, orange, or red. You get the opportunity to start off on green, and you get the opportunity to make your day better. Every day is an opportunity to have a good day. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's story, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great one. Bye.